Hello everybody. I was organizing my art supplies today and I realized I have this box of gouache from the Lukas company. I believe I probably ordered it from Jerry's Artorama. They're one of the only places that sells this brand, in the United States anyway. So I wanted to try it out. I thought I'd make a video of putting the paints in this palette. This is supposed to be a waterproof, airtight kind of palette, so I thought it would be good for gouache. It hopefully will keep it wet. And I thought after that we could swatch out the paints and then maybe do a quick painting. So yeah, let's get started with that. Let's take a closer look at this palette. It seems really fantastic. It has two trays up here that you can use for mixing. One that pops out. I'll try to do this quietly. And one over here just as part of the palette. I like that you have the two different layers, so there's a lot of mixing space. And then over here you have a little spatula type of thing, which is great for mixing up gouache if it separates. And, oh, and you can use it to pop up this tray so you have even more mixing space. It also has a rubber gasket, and I guess that's what's supposed to make it airtight. So I'm very excited about trying this palette. And then let's see what colors come in this set of gouache. It looks like we have opaque white, primary yellow, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, primary red, cadmium red, primary blue, ultramarine, permanent green, burnt sienna, Van Dyke brown, and ivory black. And actually, as I'm thinking about this, I think I may have ordered a couple extra tubes of this paint. I'm going to go check my gouache box. I'll be right back. I did in fact order another tube of paint. I have a tube of cobalt blue, and actually I have a large tube of the white. I find that I paint with a lot of white when I'm using gouache. So I have that tube, but I don't feel like I need to show you that. It's just a big tube of this one. So yeah, so I've got these 13 tubes. Hopefully that's not an unlucky number for gouache. And I'm not going to put a lot, only because I don't want it to get too dried out, and I don't know how well these re-wet. Hopefully the palette will do its job and keep them from drying out, but just in case, probably couldn't see that. Slide it over. Just in case they don't stay wet, I don't want to waste a lot of paint. They are coming out of the tubes very nicely. I'm not seeing any separation. Sometimes different companies, the quality of the paint maybe is such that it's not mixed very well or it separates easily. And these so far seem to be doing pretty well. I'm happy to see that. I like this set of paint as far as the color choices go. We have warm and cool colors of each of the primaries. So this should be a very good mixing set. Look at that beautiful magenta, that pretty red. Oh, kitten. No, no, no. Okay, there are no footprints anywhere. You did not get the paint. All right, let me move my cat and let's continue in a moment. Hopefully this one's nice and dark. It's the only thing I'm noticing with these paints is there isn't a paint that has a deep tone to it. So it might be a little hard to do some shadowing. I don't necessarily always go for black when I want to do shadows because it might muddy up the color, and I'd rather not do that. Usually I use some sort of indigo or dioxazine purple. I'm surprised I actually didn't order a dioxazine to go along with this set. That's fairly dark. The ultramarine's fairly dark, and we've got a Van Dyke brown. That's not too bad. Ooh, that one's separated. Oh, want some paint, not just liquid. Okay. Let's squeeze that tube up a little bit. Hopefully I can get some paint. There we go. Oh, that's gonna be a mess. Okay. Now, if I like this palette, I will get another one because I do have a set of whole wine gouache that I need to set up as well. Okay, going to push this aside. I am going to grab some brushes, some water, and we will start swatching out this paint. Okay, that makes me happy. Nice and opaque at full strength, and not bad when really watered down either. Okay. Now, as far as the other colors go, sometimes they are not opaque, so you have to paint them over the white or mix them with the white. It's nice when they're opaque. Ooh. That's nice and opaque at full strength. Less so watered down, but that's okay. All right, that one isn't quite as opaque at full strength. That one is. I would be shocked if the magenta is opaque. I find that most brands, they're not. Ooh, actually, that's impressive. If I remember correctly, I had to go look it up. Winsor & Newton. I don't know why that didn't sound right in my brain, and it still doesn't sound right as I'm saying it out loud. But yeah, the Winsor & Newton paint, I don't think is quite as opaque as this. Anyway, on to more swatching. Yeah, that's definitely not as opaque as some of the other ones. That's okay. That's a bright blue. It's pretty. Bright, bright blue. Now I'm noticing as this one is drying, it is not as opaque anymore. And that might happen a bit. These seem pretty dry and, oh, not quite yet. Maybe I should buy finger paints. I find that I'm always dipping my hands in. Oh, that's a pretty blue. That's a nice rich chocolatey brown. And not that I'm really expecting the black to show up too much, but it actually will probably look darker than the paper. Yeah. Okay, let's see how these dry up. Okay, these are now pretty dry and they are pretty opaque. I'm pretty happy with them. I would say the least opaque is probably this yellow. And maybe the magenta and the red, but again, that's very typical for gouache. So I think now we can jump into the painting part. We're going to be painting this beautiful photograph. I think I got it from unsplash.com. I think it'll be perfect for gouache because it's a black background, and then I'll be able to just dot on some yellow flowers, paint my lemon in my little plate. So yeah, we're going to do that, and we're going to use the Stonehenge black watercolor paper. And as you can see, I lightly drew out the painting already, and I have it all taped up so that way I can put it down on my table without it warping too much. I decided to speed up my painting and do a voiceover for this portion of the video. I know if it's not a true tutorial, I get bored watching people paint. I like to see it sped up. I like to get the general idea of how the paints work and just move on. So my first impressions of this gouache is that it is pretty opaque, which is nice. I was able to water it down and get some decent washes for the background of the tablecloth. It layered very well, which was really nice. The paper was able to take a lot of washes and was able to take a lot of wet, just wet paint. And normally when I use gouache, when I paint on black paper, it isn't watercolor paper, it's just sketchbook paper, and that warps and it bleeds and it pills a little bit. So this was a much more pleasurable experience. The gouache paint itself, like I said, did layer really well. I sometimes find that gouache paint lifts super easy when you put on more and more layers, but this didn't seem to do that too much. I mean, it lifted a tiny bit, but nothing compared to other gouache paints I've used. It really, sat on the paper and I felt like did what it's designed to do. You can see the white paint getting brighter and brighter as I layer it. And you can see that the yellow paint blended really well with the darker black paint when I was trying to create the shadows. So I'm pretty impressed with this stuff. Okay, right here, I took a couple days break from this painting, and let's take a look at the paint to see how well it held up in this palette. And you can see the paint stayed nice and wet, and I'm able to use it straight from the palette after about 4 days. So I'm really happy with it. Okay, back to my super speeded up painting. I did just check out the Jerry's Artorama website, and this set of paint is on super sale, and it's about $32. So I think it's a great bargain for what you're getting. It's 12 tubes of 20 milliliters per tube of paint. The quality I'm really happy with. I mean, you can see I'm just dotting on the yellow directly onto the black paper, and it's perfectly opaque, and I'm not having to do a base coat of white underneath. I have needed to do that in the past with the Winsor Newton gouache. The yellow just didn't stand up very well against black paper. So yeah, this is very pigmented paint, and I had a blast using it. My only issue with this painting, I don't know why I choose reference photos like this, but I got so bored painting the little tiny flowers on the tablecloth that I just started to, I guess, I don't know, just dab on the little dots instead of actually making it look more like flowers. That's just because I get bored. I need to pick paintings that I can, I don't know, modify a little bit better, but I felt that if I didn't put these dots, those expanses of blue just would have been too much, and the composition wouldn't have been as good. So I don't know. I think I just need to pick better reference photos or plan ahead a little bit better so that I have a composition that I'm a little bit more happy with. My favorite part of finishing a painting is peeling the tape off of the edge. I like the nice, clean, crisp lines that it leaves. Unfortunately, I've never really had this happen this badly before. The tape pulled the paper completely off of the painting. You can see the remnants of it on the tape. I'm not sure if I didn't let the paper dry all the way, so it's my fault, or if this tape just interacted poorly with the painting, or rather the paper. I mean, it's just possible that the sizing on this paper wasn't strong enough to resist the stickiness of the tape. I'm not sure. I'll have to experiment more with this paper and taping it down. And that is my final painting. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your impressions of this gouache are. And let me know what type of videos you'd like to see. In the meantime, I will see you soon and start planning more reviews and maybe a couple tutorials. Thanks for watching. Bye.